Hi, George Durkee, Columbia College in Sonora, and this will be for my Geography 63 and 61 classes and might even be somewhat useful for my fall Arc Online Geography 66 class. And a number of students are working from different computers on campus, and that could present a problem in that starting on a project and you just get partway through it, and then you want to continue the project on another computer the next day or something like that. And so far, that's actually seemed to have worked out for students, but I just want to tell you of an alternative here. It would probably be a good idea to save your project and make it portable. In addition, computers around campus do get wiped, sometimes daily, for personal work. And like I say, that hasn't seemed to have been a problem in the GIS lab anyway. It's something to keep in mind. And you may want your project from this semester, you may want to carry it over into another semester. And so anyway, what we're going to show you here is how to save a project file within ArcGIS Pro, put it on a USB, or if you're using your home computer, you know, put it on your internal drive and or upload it to your ArcGIS Online account that you have through the college. And you can also upload it as a web map package, and that way you can use it in ArcGIS Online and even edit it within Arc Online and download it back to your ArcPro computer. Pro and Online are pretty well integrated now, so you can exchange between the two, and that allows you to share among different contributors. So it's a pretty useful thing. And also, of course, you can upload and show it to others. So the first method I'm going to demonstrate here is saving your ArcGIS map project or assignment or whatever to a file to make it portable. And we'll save to either a USB or you can put it on your hard drive. And so here we have a really basic map of the Columbia campus, and it's just got a few data files here. I've got roads, the park horse, and the parcel, the boundary of the campus. And so what we're going to do is we're going to share that and then transfer that file to USB or, like I say, on your hard drive. And this is really useful for a couple of ways. As I said in the intro, it makes your project portable. You can take it to different computers on campus, but especially you can have it as a backup file. And I strongly recommend this. So you have a point in time where if you mess up and or the file you're working on gets corrupted, and that's rare nowadays, but it does happen. And then you always have a backup, so you can go back to the point where you had saved it. I mean, obviously not after that, but it means you don't lose your entire workflow. So from the map view, go to Share, and then go to Project. You're sharing your project and you're creating a package. And then on the right, you get a whole pane here, a bunch of choices for this tool. You can either upload package to your online account, and I'll demo that next, or you can save package to a file, and that's what we're going to do here. And once you do that, it automatically fills in a path, and you can change that by going to browse. And then I'm going to save it to specifically my Geography 63 folder here. And within that, I'm going to save it to my Arc Projects folder. And then you want to give it a name, and especially if you're going to use this as a backup file, you probably want to put a date and time on it. So I'm just going to say campus map. I'm going to add my name, and then we'll give it a date stamp, 2026, and the month, '01, and the day, the 28th. And you could put a time on it, but we won't do that. But when you're doing emergency incident mapping, I'll show you how to do file names for that. And for that, you do often want a time stamp on it. And you can also just put a version number. We'll just call this version 1, but but just the basics, depending on what you're going to do with it. And then we just click save, and it sets it up depending on the check marks you put in here. So we'll include the history items and toolboxes. We don't have any of those here, but we'll do it anyway. And we've checked valid items only. So what we're going to do is we're going to analyze. And so this goes through and makes sure that everything agrees, that is your coordinate systems and so on agree. So we'll hit analyze, and good news, there were no errors here. And then we just hit package. Oh, and we got to save it again. And now it clicks and whirs, and it'll take a few seconds depending on the size of the file. So you'll notice down here it's in progress. And then everything's good, and now you can manage the package, and that'll take us directly to the file. And there it is there. So as I said, and then we can open that, and it takes just a little bit of time to open. So it opens up as a separate file, and it's got all of your data and as a separate file. And notice also that even though we saved it as a package file, it keeps the same original name, which was Pro Package Export Demo. So it'll save as that when you do this again. Oh, and one thing I didn't mention is the USB thumb drive. You can get a 32 gig thumb drive, which is probably big enough for anything you do here for about $10 at even the campus bookstore. But for I think 15 or 18 or something like that on Amazon, you can get 128 gig for like I said, $17 I think right now. So I'd go for the larger one just because you could start keeping some fairly large data files on it should you need them. So next, let's upload this to your Arc Online account. And so we're back in Package Project. And if you remember, if you're just doing this one at a time, we went from Share to Project. And so now we're just going to take Upload Package to Online Account. And again, we'll give it a name. And I'm just going to paste in the same name we used for the other one. And for these, you have to give it a summary. So I'm just going to call it demo test and a tag demo. And we won't give it a category, but for location, and it's good to have created a folder on your Arc Online account. And so I've got one here, Geography 63, Spring 26, and I just called this Upload Demo. And you can actually create the folder before you do that on your account. If you're just starting, it's okay to have a whole bunch of files there, but it's just good early on in your data GIS career to divide things up into folders. And then as you scroll down, you can choose who to share it, the sharing level here. So the owner or the organization or to the public. So initially, you're probably just going to want to share it just to yourself. But if several of you are working on a project, uh, maybe other students, you want to share it with them. But for the moment, I'm just going to share it with myself. And then you want to analyze it. And good news, there were no problems found. That's not always the case, especially when you're going to do a web map upload. We'll get to that next, but so far so good. So then you package and it'll upload. So it's compressing and clicking and whirring, and then it'll upload the package. And this will take a little longer depending on your bandwidth. But the advantage here again is this is now living on your online account so that you don't even have to carry your USB. It's available on Arc Online. And again, we'll manage the package. We'll take a look. So I've now gone to my Arc Online account, and there it is there. So I can download the whole package, or I can open it in ArcGIS Pro. And when you do that, it creates a smaller link. Notice here it has a different extension, and then I'll navigate to my C drive where I have my Geography 63 files. and we'll save it again to Arc projects. So it'll have a different file extension. So then we'll save it there, and it downloads pretty quickly. And now back to that folder, and we'll just open it up here from Arc Online. Builds the map, and voila, there you have the one you originally created. And so taking that data, you can continue to edit, work on it, and then just re-share, save it as a project, and re-upload it, or as I say, or put it on a thumb drive. And also in doing so, you can change the share settings either when you upload, or you can change them here. So you can take it from just shared with you, or you can share it out to other students or anyone within the Columbia College organization, or you can send it out to everyone. The thing to remember, this is not a web map. This is just the data. So you won't be sharing a web map to view with them, but only your map package. So next we'll do this as a web map. So last, I'm going to demo how to take your map in ArcPro and upload it to your Arc Online account so you can view it as a web map. So this is different from the previous two demos in that those were ways to save your file. And this will actually create a web map that can be viewed and edited and shared on ArcGIS Online. Now, in my 61 and 63 classes, we won't be doing this. And in my fall Arc Online class, we actually don't do it there either, but it's good to know how to do this. As I said earlier, Pro and Arc Online are now pretty well integrated, and you can work on either one and exchange data with either one. It's a pretty useful thing to have. So in this case, we go again to share, and instead of project, we share it as a web map. And you come up with a slightly different share tab. So we give it a name, and I'm going to call it Campus Demo Web Map, and then demo of OL load, and then demo. And we will do this. And then you select a configuration. And when you see the drop down, you'll have three choices here: copy all data exploratory. And so that puts all the feature layers in there, but editing is turned off. And then copy all data editable. So all the layers are in there and editing is set to on. And then finally visualization. And that, you can use that as a face map. So we're going to do editable because you may want to either share it or continue to work on it yourself. And then next we select a folder, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to use my previously created Geography 63 Spring upload demo, and we'll maintain it as owner. And you've got other settings here for configuration, but I'm just going to do the basics here. And we're going to analyze it, and we'll hope for the best. So we just got a warning here, which is not going to prevent us from uploading it when you get the triangle and the exclamation point. When you scroll down, you see that the layers pop up. Definition includes one or more measurement fields that are not supported online. And that's kind of common that Pro and Arc Online work pretty well together, but there's still some things that don't work cross-platform. So, for instance, sometimes you'll get labels that you've put onto Pro, and they won't be represented as you did them, or you'll do symbology that Arc Online doesn't do. but it's actually getting better online. So that happens much less than it used to. Anyway, this is a non-fatal error, as we say. Now, if you got the red X, it would prevent you from uploading. So we're just going to go ahead and share, and it'll reanalyze. And again, depending on the size of your file, it'll click and whir and take a little bit of time. So for a not very complicated map, that took about 3 minutes on my really low bandwidth connection here. So now let's go look at the map itself under Manage the web layer, and that takes us to the file and tells you the field or the feature layers that are in it, as well as the base map you're using. Let's open it in Map Viewer. And there you go. And you can edit it, add labels. So for instance, the labels there are pretty tiny. You'd want to improve on that against the background. Do whatever you want and share it. And of course, if you had shared it to the organization, several of you can work on it at once. I mean, not at the same time, but you can trade off working on different aspects of it. So last, just a couple of things to keep in mind here. When you store your data either as packages or as the link, the PIT-EMX file. Uh, those are separate files, and they will download onto your computer, or of course, if you have them stored as on a USB drive. So you have a whole new project in one sense. That is, it's a copy of your previous project, but any edits you make will create a new project, and so you'll have to share that. Um, uh, and upload it or put it on your USB. Now you can work off your USB. That is, you open the project on your USB and just edit and so on. And of course, it'll be saved there. There might be a slight glitch with that because if you're working on a large file, the USB is going to be slower. Um, so not to get too geeky here, but you could look into a USB 3 thumb drive, and that works faster. Though I think ultimately your best bet is to, if you have it on USB, copy it onto your hard drive, work on that, and then save as a project file and put that back on your USB. Okay, so that's it. I hope this was useful to some of you. The main point, again, was so you folks could make your projects portable and also to have a backup of what you're doing. So send me a note if you have questions or comments. As I've said before, my home email at Sonic is best, but the Canvas app works well. Okay, thanks.